Celebrity Style Inspiration.
Hi CSIers! Welcome back to your favorite Thursday date night here on the Manila Times CSI, Celebrity Style Inspiration. Ako po si Tessa Mauricio Ariola and you're watching our fourth and biggest season ever where we've lined up exclusive T-Zone interviews with your favorite artistas and personalities week after week after week. So let's get started right now. Tonight's guest is a multi-talented artist. Number one, because the arts in every shape and form are intrinsic in her genes. And number two, because of the amazing passion and sheer hands-on hard work she has always devoted to her versatile brand of music. From songwriting, recording, performing, and even conceptualizing her music videos, everything that comes out from the self-confessed schizsoprano that is schizophrenic and soprano just dazzles with her personal touch. Tonight, let's find out where this classical singer turned rocker, theater turned movie actress, and all-around sweet and energizing bundle of musical energy gets her inspiration for a brand of music that is totally her own. CSIers, please welcome Nicole Laurel Asensio.
Hello,
Yay!
Hi, Miss Tessa. Hello.
Hello.
To Manila Times team. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming on. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of trivia here. Today we've actually pulled Nicole out of a really busy day because she's launching the music video of her brand new Christmas single, which we'll learn about a little later. But it's exactly the reason why I really wanted to guest you on the show, Nicole. I mean, I think the last 2 years you really have been coming out with so much material, and what's great about it, even if she just sends us a little notice of like a new single coming out, it's really got everything Nicole on it, her personal touches. She'll send you a box of cookies, she'll send something so sweet, and it just really makes you appreciate her music more. And I want the audience also, Nicole, to appreciate your music from where it comes from, because I know that I can feel it. I can feel the passion that goes into every song that you write and every project that you put out there. So if we may, we just like to dig in a little bit more into who you are and where this wonderful talent comes from. But before that, we have a little tradition, we'd like to call it, here on the Manila Times CSI. It's called LIP. That stands for Last Instagram Post. I think this has something to do with us. So anyway.
I was so excited for today. So, I know I'm just at home right now, but I wanted to dress up because this is something really special. I mean, Manila Times, when they call you for an interview, you say yes and you show up and you look your best because this is a special moment. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So I also posted this photo because my friend, her name is Lourdes, she actually made this suit for me. So yeah, I just wanted to flex my friend because she's really talented and wear her suit today. Which trivia, my mom actually and I are almost the same size. So she wore this suit also to our movie press premiere last week. So yeah, my mom and I share clothes, and I thought it was cute because I also posted a photo of mom in this suit, and now I'm wearing it.
Oh, so apparently they say that whatever your mom's figure is at a certain age, it's going to be your figure too. So you guys have nothing to worry about.
I would be honored to have.
I'm not being bitter there, but yeah, you have nothing to worry about. I'm just joking. I think my mom's doing pretty well. Anyway,
you look great. There's nothing to be bitter about at all.
I love all of your everything, like I was saying earlier on, everything that you put out there, even if it's just like a photograph, it's always got something, like something more to it. I think, something artistic. There has to be context, I think, in all that you do. But I say that because, you were born not just into an artistic family, but also a family of patriots, if I may say. Of course, your great-grandfather was a president of the country, and of course, your grandfather was vice president as well. But I think the dominant gene, I think, is really the arts, because you've got singers, you've got theater actors, performers, and all that. But you had so much opportunity facing you, of course, when you were younger. What really made you sort of, jump into what most of the Laurels and the Essentials are known to do, which is music?
Well, I think I got exposed from a very young age. I must have been 4 or 5, and I looked up to my grandpa Doy as a father figure because we were very, very close. I would sleep over in their house. I would stay in the bed between my Lola Celia and my Papa Doy. I'd stay right in the middle when I was a toddler, and Tito Kokoy would always be on the piano, and when I would stay in their house, my grandparents' house, it was like a wonderland to me because art and music was free flowing, and even their friends were so musical. Like Tito Kokoy was really good friends with Maestro Raya and Kayab-Yab, so they would come over and they would play music, and then his Miss Saigon friends would come over and they would sing songs. So as a child, that was my reality, but it was so much like a fantasy. And it was quite similar in my Lola Fides' house naman in Quezon City because she's a music professor. So her students would board with her and live with her. So when I'd visit naman my Lola, ganun din, kantahan din. So for me, that was like the reality that I grew up with, and I'm grateful for that. But to be quite honest, I didn't know I wanted to be a performer for real till after college. I actually applied to be a lawyer. And that's also what my mom applied to be when she was in college before she had me. And for some strange reason, we both ended up becoming singers. So I don't know what it is because we had the same law application, but we both ended up becoming singers. So I don't know if it's a case of history repeating itself or destiny simply choosing it for us or God's will. But we ended up pursuing what might have already been there and that we refused to recognize.
It's beautiful history happening over and over. And I think, I think my next question has to be, because Filipinos in general, anyway, we're all music lovers. Even in my family, I've got a brother who just plays the guitar. And when we're together, you just kind of, sing. I mean, even if you're not good, you're good. But for you, what can music do to family relationships?
Oh, wow. Music can heal so many relationships. It can start relationships. It can restore relationships. And in my family's case, that was our bonding. Like every Christmas, every birthday, we would have some sort of program. Like, I don't know whether it would be excerpts from Les Miserables or some other musical. We would be working together, and down to the costumes, kami, we would kind of like piece together what we had just to make a show to show our Lola or Tito Kokoy that we love them, and that was their way of showing love. There are love languages. In our family, I guess the love language was music. And it's something that is still inherent in the generations today, and something I think and I hope that we carry forward in the future generations. I hope we can instill that, because it just so happened that many of the Laurels in our branch also married musicians. Okay. So the in-laws would also play instruments or sing. So it really became a family thing. And the children, of course, of my titas and titos, my cousins, they inherited it also. And so many of them who aren't necessarily active in the industry, they are great performers. And so when you put them all together, you have a show
already, right? Just like that,
There's an
and the great thing about it is, when you have parties, that's already, something that you can slash off the budget. Entertainment, like musicians, singers, it's just all there, and of such quality that, of course, I'm sure your family, both sides, are so proud of. But in going into music, and being a family that is known in music, both sides, professor of music, soprano, opera, all that, was it did it actually feel a little bit daunting at some point, or did you feel pressured that I've got to prove myself because then I'll just be one of many, will be part of the Laurel singing family, the Asensio singing family, but I want to be Nicole? Was there a time that you sort of felt like that, and how because you have been able to, establish your own identity in music. How are you able to do that?
Well, I'm grateful that I have the background from both sides of the family, because they were able to understand this career path. It wasn't always easy because I did rebel. I mean, truth be told, with all my tattoos and my rock band history, I don't think that's what they envisioned me doing when I said I wanted to go into music. And in my early 20s, I did feel that way. I did feel not defiant, but a sort of, I had this sense that I needed to fulfill a purpose and have my own identity. And I've always been a rock and roll fan. My father was a rock and roll fan, so that's what I listened to at the time, and that's why I went that direction. It was also something that I don't think anyone in my family had done professionally before, so it made me different, and it gave me a sense of creativity. But after about 5 or 6 years, I realized that, I can't also deny what my history is, where my roots are. And I grew up listening to classics. I grew up listening to jazz, to standards, to music.
Yeah.
So no matter how far I strayed from that in my rock band days, that part of me, that old soul part of me, was kind of pulling me back and whispering, hey, let's do this thing that you grew up with. Maybe it'll help you rediscover and expand as an artist. So that's why I kind of took a step back and started to bridge the gap between my rock roots and my more classic and standard roots, and hopefully create another identity, which is who I hope to be today, which is probably why they call me schizsoprano. But
But I always, when I think about the Beatles, like one song that was always stuck to me is Eleanor Rigby. It's it's rock, but then they put in like all these violins, the classic, that, and you kind of realize everything actually works out in music. Everything can come together. It's really something that can unify people. That's why I guess whatever language a great song is, we appreciate it in every way. So who was the most shocked among the family that you went into rock? Was it your Tito Nicole Laurel, or was it your Lola Fides? I don't know how you call her, but of course strictly classical there. Who was more shocked? And how did you explain to them that this is the kind of music I want to make right now?
Well, first of all, I loved everything you just said about the Beatles, because Eleanor Rigby happens to be my all-time favorite melody composed by the Beatles. Yes, and I do agree that music is not supposed to be divisive or put in boxes. I understand that genres are there for identification purposes, but really and truly, when you're a listener, all that stuff, all the lines, they just blur away, because you react to what you feel, and music can be so ephemeral. It can cross so many borders. So yes, I love what you said. And to answer your question, I think it would have to be my Lola Fides, because
you're also quite cool. I've interviewed him back in the day, and yeah. So what did she say?
She's she's very, very ingrained in her craft. She took it so seriously, and I wouldn't call her a purist, because she does actually experiment with genres. But in terms of vocal training, she is very she's a stickler. So I think her concern was less about my image and my artistic choice, and more about the health of my vocals, because she was like, Nicole, you're not built to scream for the rest of your life. You might damage a vocal cord and regret it. So I think her concern with my artistic choices back then were more about me taking care of my body and my voice, rather than my taste. So yeah, it was a little bit of a back and forth. But as artists, I think we both have that bond that's unbreakable. Like, I think she's also happy for me that I have my own identity and I'm not a copy of anyone else. And to give her all my respect, I would try as much as I can to still vocalize my classical notes, so that if she asks me to sing, I won't show up naman tapos medyo raspy na yung voice. Tapos, you know, I would still try to appeal to her artistic senses as a classical enthusiast and
But
artist.
just you personally, like being able to switch from rock to classical to kundiman, I'm sure, and to all these things. It's so much fun, I mean, not many people are able to do that now. And I think, if there's anything that I'm sure you'd want to do is to also expose lots of younger people to different types of music, because it just really gives you all that, a lot of feelings about everything, and then gives you sort of a feel of what the time was back then. The kundimans are also so wonderful, diba? Parang you relax when you listen to it. Sometimes it's so touching and all that. But I talk about emotions because obviously an artist in a family, usually they give that person a lot of patience because I'm an artist and I have my moods and all that. But then, there's Nicole, there's the Fides, there's even Rahul Laurel, who is also an artist, but in fashion. There's your mom, there's cousins. How does a family with almost all artists work? Because artists have all these feelings. So when you all come out with your feelings all at the same time, what's the scene like? Well, is that a misconception that we have about artists?
Well, I think in the Laurel side, because we are also very much influenced by our Lolo Doy, we're very practical. Actually, we're not as emotional as the archetype of artists may appear to some people. A lot of the Laurels, especially like you mentioned Raho, he's actually a great singer. I've seen him in concert. Not a lot of people know that, but he's a fantastic singer. But he's a mastermind in business. My mom, having wanted to be a lawyer, she thinks in a very practical way. A lot of my uncles and aunts are business trained. So I think they look at it also in a very practical way, and they know how to manage the emotions. I don't know about myself. I would like to say the same, because I would like to say that I save the emotional parts for the performance, and then as soon as that's over, I kind of try and reel it back, because not having a manager, I also kind of have to do the other side, the work side, the business side. So I think it's healthy to keep a balance of both, because if I'm constantly emotional, I might not get any work done. So yeah, and we also each have our own thing. So I think everyone has their own little projects, and so that's what keeps us going and keeps us busy as individuals. And then when you put us together for like a show, that's when we kind of like learn how to work with each other's dynamics. But it doesn't happen as often. So it's actually quite rare that you would put all of the Laurels together.
But when it happens, wow, what an occasion, that must be. So you were saying earlier, that's very interesting also, that you also handle the other side of being an artist, being like promoting yourself out there, and not just that, even your visuals for all of your new songs, your pictorials, everything is just so carefully done. How do you get to balance everything? Because sometimes that's why I said that we give the artists patience and time. They're the genius who writes the music, composes the song and all that, but you actually juggle everything. How do you do that?
Well, I'm still praying for one day that I'll have that team and that management that will handle my affairs, so I can spend more time composing and doing the more artistic stuff. But I believe that God put me in this situation as an independent sort of producer of my own work, so I can also learn the craft on the other side, because I simply don't see myself as the kind of artist that would just show up and have everything ready for them and taken care of, and not understand how each moving part works, and each person who's working, how hard they have to work, and the things they need to do. I want to be able to understand all of these things, because it will enable me also to be a better leader when I do have that team. And I want to make sure that my people who work with me get treated right. They have everything they need. And the only way to fully understand that is to do every job. And hopefully one day when that does happen and I do have the right people on my side, then I can be more compassionate, I can be more of a team player, and we can have a better working relationship. So for now, I'm not sure why I'm doing this mostly alone. I have a lot of help. I'm so grateful.
You're thriving, and you're thriving.
I'm grateful because I have also help. I mean, I have Tita Toots Tolentino who helps me and helps me with PR, and there's no better really. He's amazing. And I have friends who help me in the industry. I have people in Warner Music who help me with the distribution stuff. But I do love being hands-on because it teaches me things that I might never learn anywhere else. And I need to know these things.
And so that's what I was saying, that we're getting to know where you're coming from, even by producing your own music. It's quite, quite touching that you said, so that I could be compassionate to them if I have my own team one day. This is what I was saying, that be so great to learn about you, because I really do get that vibe from you. People might think just because she's from a privileged family, she kind of just sings, and doesn't really know anything else but sing. But Nicole really puts not just heart, soul, but blood, sweat, and tears, if you want to call it that, because the time that she puts in it, like the physical presence over the pandemic. You did so much great work during the pandemic. Like going out there, even with the threat of all of these things, and you did it and you got through it. And that's why we really do want to salute you and congratulate you on that part. So, when do you think it all happened for Nicole, the solo artist? Having come from, I think, a couple of bands, am I right? And then deciding to go solo, what was the breakthrough single, you would think, or what moment was it in your career so far that sort of, this is what meant the world to you, that moment, because it meant more and more, projects coming in and more creativity coming to you?
Thank you for what you just said, though. That really touched my heart, and I appreciate it. Well, my mom actually had a lot to do with my choices. She doesn't know this because I rarely ever think about it. But now that you asked me, she has a lot to do with my choices, because when I first started out in a band, I was actually working 3 jobs while singing in a band. Wow. So I started when I graduated college. My mom wanted me to move out already and experience life as maybe they do it in the States or in other countries. She wanted me to be more independent so that I would not have to rely on my whims and my artistic natures. Like, I could have savings enough so that I could, do my passion projects. So I started out with 3 jobs, the first of which I was a part-time teacher. I would teach English. And then my second job was I would work in a restaurant. The then Lolo Dads, I used to work there. Oh, and then I would sell also medical equipment as a racket.
See, we're getting to know so much more about you. Can't imagine.
But these 3 things, they were, for me, great. I mean, there is great opportunity. I built a network, I made friends, but I would still find myself in the smoky bars at night, letting out my steam, letting out my stress with my rock band mates. And that's where I felt like I could be me, And I never thought of myself being a full-time music person, because I had other jobs. And from when I was a kid, that's what my mom told me: don't bank on music. You might get disappointed. You might not, be able to sustain yourself. Get another job, And it was really scary for me to let go of the other jobs and say, Mom, I'm gonna do this music thing. Good luck, right? And I think she was also scared. Like, I could feel it, and I could see it in her eyes. That what if my daughter has a hard time, because she although having come from, the family we come from, she also was independent. When she was pregnant with me, she moved out and she sustained herself with her music career. And I saw how hard it was for her growing up, especially as a single mom, to make ends meet. And she also had several jobs specifically because she didn't want to rely on what people thought my family had. Because, we wanted to do our own thing. And she really wanted that for me too. So she may not know this, but I really have her to thank. In when I decided to do this music thing, it started off with a band because that's what I was into, and I think the market needed someone like us at the time, an all-female band that was, rock. So it took 2 years to get that band together, and then we got signed with Warner Music back then. We had a good run, about 4.5, 5 years, but then life happened also. We are women. So one of us had a daughter, and then some migrated to the States na. So things happen. I wanted to pursue naman the side of music that covered different genres, so we went our separate ways but still remained friends. We're actually all in a Bible study together on Zoom.
Okay.
So we still see each other.
Very well rounded.
Yeah, cute, diba? Who would have thought from rock band to Zoom Bible study together? But it happened, and it was then when I decided that I'm gonna give this a shot, this entertainment thing a shot, because I might not have this forever. The teaching thing I can go back to when I'm older. I can still, do sales when I'm older if I want to. But this is something I need to do now. And by that time, I had been living alone for enough years for my mom, I think, to gain trust and not worry too much about me. So, I'm so grateful she ended up trusting me to, take care of myself. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. We love dogs. We love hearing them. As I said, we do want to get into the, other side and learn more about Nicole. But wow, kudos to your mom for having raised such, a grounded woman. And, working so that you could sustain your passion. Obviously your music means so much to you. If you have to work 3 jobs just to make sure that one day when you go for it, you can be all in. And that's exactly what you are, all in to your music. So tell us about what's happening right now. I know, like I was saying, you always have something. I think usually during the different events of the year, you always come out with something kind of meaningful. I know last Valentine's, I know there was like a love song that you came out with, and now it's Christmas, and of course we love Christmas, and we love music with Christmas. So please tell us about the latest from Nicole Laurel Asensio.
So this song, Christmas Without You, it's kind of a prequel of sorts to the Christmas song that I released last year. Last year, I wrote a song called See You This Christmas because it was our first pandemic Christmas, right? So it was kind of a see you this Christmas, but also posed as a question. See you this Christmas? Like, what's going to happen to us now? How do we spend Christmas for the first time with all these rules and regulations and boundaries? And the thing that inspired me is how creative the Filipinos are and how we still found a way to make it so festive despite all the challenges. Because even if it was different, I still felt the spirit of the Filipino come through in Christmas. So I wrote that song last year, not thinking that we would have another pandemic Christmas this year. So when it was about August, September already, I'm like, okay, I think we're still in the same zone, sort of, but we have our bearings now a little bit better, so we can kind of deal with things more. But I think I should write another song. So it kind of became the prequel as to why the character in my song last year was spending Christmas alone. So this song reveals her husband leaving to go work, which is the familiar story for many of us, and how the woman spends Christmas waiting for him to come home. So I'm hoping next year there's no more pandemic Christmas.
Please let's do it together.
Yes, exactly. Because I want to write that song when he finally comes home and they spend Christmas together. I'm hoping to complete the trilogy on a happy note next year.
We know you're enjoying this interview that we're having with Nicole, but we have to pause for a quick break. We'll be right back for more on the Manila Times CSI.
CSI, Celebrity Style Inspiration.
That's what makes your music unique. First of all, we've been saying that you've established your own brand of music, and it's really because of this storytelling angle that is in like the songs that you've been putting out. So I guess my question is, when you wrote "See You This Christmas," did you already think about that trilogy, and did you really want to tell a story through this trilogy of songs for Christmas? I mean, how does it all work? Because you must have such an interesting sort of writing process. What goes on in your mind that you create this story from not just one song, but now three songs, hopefully.
Thank you for stating that. I guess it's maybe the theater background that kind of makes me think of characters. When I write, it does come from personal experience, but sometimes I also like to expand the story by envisioning myself as a character. So in the beginning, when I wrote the first one last year, I didn't think of a trilogy because I didn't know the pandemic would last this long. But now, when I wrote the second one, I was thinking there needs to be more to the story. Like, why is this person alone? And so many of us, so many people I know are spending Christmas away from their loved ones. So I was trying to tap into that. It took me a little bit longer this year to finish the song. I actually went on Netflix and started watching like Christmas movies to get in the mood, because I was writing it in August, so I wasn't really feeling Christmassy yet, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I start this thing? And then thankfully, after watching a few Christmas classics, I was able to finish the song, but not without help. I did co-write it with this young songwriter. He's a Nigerian songwriter who's based in Dumaguete. His name is Sam Akins, and he's one of the great songwriters of Warner Music these days. So our boss in Warner, Kelly, actually introduced us via Zoom, and we hit it off so much. We actually wrote 3 songs kagad. And this was the third one that I had written like half of while taking a shower, which is really weird. But anyway,
It just really happened.
yeah, it just happened.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I sent him a voice note. I sang it on my phone, and I sent it to him, and I said, if you think this is something we can work on, let's get on a Zoom call and let's finish it. And the guy plays the piano and the guitar, so I was singing it on the Zoom, which has a delay, so of course it's complicated. but we were doing it all through Zoom and voice notes, and from there we were able to finish it, thank God. And I sent it to Michael, who I work with for the big band. He's with AMP Big Band and his own big band, which is Project 201. And then Michael notated it. So he did the technical stuff that I don't know how to do.
There is one thing you don't know how to do in music. You just know the technical stuff.
I can't write or read. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Hala, your Lola will say no note reading.
Yes. Yes.
But these two, there's so much, beyond the story of the actual songs. There's a lot of interesting stories also behind the like the beginnings of your 2 singles, because if I remember correctly, you had worked. Is that right? You had worked back in March. Oh, sorry. In March, you worked with Justin Bieber's producer, Blue Hamilton, for another single, See Through, under Warner Music Philippines. And this time you're working with a Nigerian songwriter. What do you learn from one experience to another? I mean, from somebody who's like in world, so mainstream in global music, and then all of a sudden, a Nigerian based in Dumaguete. How very interesting, right? I mean, what do you learn from them?
Oh, a lot. They're exposed to so many things that I haven't been exposed to. So their styles, their heritage, it's very broad and very different. And they also work with different artists from all over the world. So their experiences enrich my experiences. And they're so generous when it comes to information, when it comes to sharing what they know. And I'm just so grateful that I met people like that, like Lou Hamilton and Sam Akins, who are just so open with their artistry, and they just want to give. And what I think is awesome is actually a lot of Filipinos are becoming more and more global in terms of reach. Like they are collaborating more with international producers and other international artists. And that was always my goal as an artist, was to branch out, to be different, to cross a border here or there. And I'm just fortunate that I got to meet these people so randomly, and hopefully that we can open doors together and work with more people, because there's really no reason for us to confine ourselves, especially now with all the internet things available to us, right? We can branch out if we want to grow and to adapt and to make a new sound.
Yeah, without even having to be face to face, right? I mean, so much can't be done. I mean, of course, we would love to see each other and work together, but still, so much can happen, no matter what. So right there, I think we'd just like to ask you about the dream. Then, I mean, you started telling us that that's always what you wanted, to be able to work with so many, artists, not just from here but all over, and it's happening now. So from here, we always, kind of readjust what our goals are, what our dreams are. But now that you're here, now that all these things can happen, whether there's a pandemic, you can make music with other people. What is the dream now for Nicole?
Wow, I just want to keep making music. I don't want to stop. I want to keep creating. I want to keep hopefully releasing new music. And I do want to work with more international producers or artists, because I feel like my heart's just pulling me there. Like I want to travel. I want to bring my music elsewhere, and I want to learn from other people's music out there. And I just want to do more while I can, while I'm here on Earth. And hopefully, God willing, I will be able to do more and learn more as well, and hopefully build my team and work with more people. And maybe if I'm ever in a position to also help independent artists like myself start up, where do you begin and how do you keep going? And I just want to stay in the industry for as long as I can and stay in love with it, even if it's not always easy.
Who better to understand the independent artist, right? I mean, you've gone through all of these things. It's your turn to, I'm sure pretty soon it'll be your turn to pass on all of these learnings that you've taken with you along the way. So there you go. That's the the deep part of the passion, of the craft of Nicole Laurel Asensio. So now let's just have a little bit of trivia, a little bit of fun here, just so we know naman you do look like a girl who likes to have fun too, likes a good laugh and all that. Just very quickly, if you could have a movie, I know your movie though, Katip is a musical, but if you could have a movie, a rom-com or like a love story, even if it's heavy drama, who would you want to be your leading man in the Philippines? Philippines muna tayo.
Oh, Philippines. Oh my gosh. I had an answer ready, but then you said Philippines.
Philippines muna. Love your own muna. Diba?
Yeah, you're right. Love your own. But I don't know. Or maybe I'm jahilang. I don't know. There's so many good ones.
Many good ones, diba? The usual answer is Piolo Pascual. Let's just make you rate some. John Lloyd Cruz, Piolo Pascual, and give me another one, guys. Third one. Who kaya? Jericho Rosales. I don't know. Rate them.
Okay, so among the three guys, the only one I've met in person is Jericho. And so maybe they're all great, by the way. Wow, I would be honored to work with any one of them. But because I've met Jericho and I've actually exchanged conversation with him before, I'll pick him. He's
passionate artist too, right? And
music, and right? Amazing. And so kind.
Okay, then I'll give you the easy question then. Hollywood. Since you've been ready. Yeah.
Oh, who's my international pick?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asian.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. Oh, nice. Because yeah, an Asian too, right? I mean, it
Right.
can happen. Now that you said that, we can visualize it, and it should happen. Let's let's say it out. Let's say it out loud. It's gonna happen. Another.
Gotta wave that Asian flag, man.
Yeah, but not so. Maybe we'll have a not so crazy rich, but Asian movie. Philippine setting. Yeah. Man, tone it down a little.
Class Asians.
Yeah, no private planes or anything like that. Okay, so just before you sing or before you have a show, what do you drink? Is it cold? People want to know that to take care of their voices. So what's a pre-show drink and what's a post-show drink? Post-performance drink?
If it's a rock or a band type jazz show, I will allow myself to have a little drink, just like one or two. I won't
Just
not,
not
not anymore. I won't get smashed before a set. But if it's like a classical or a hosting gig, something where I need to be a little more prim and proper, I'll probably be drinking coffee before the show. Post show, I only drink 3 alcoholic beverages. That would be either a beer, a whiskey, or a martini. Those are the only things I can handle.
What is your secret potion, if there is one? Because obviously, especially when you were in the rock circuit, you must have had days when everything was just raspy and all that. But some people say like Regine Velasquez used to say pepakwa, that Chinese candy. I mean, what about you? I mean, what is your go-to potion or miracle lozenge or whatever?
I only recently discovered this, but it has helped me leaps and bounds. So every morning and sometimes noon and night too, I have this juicer, and we put green apples, cucumbers, celery, isang kamay ng ginger, and some honey, and then you juice it, and it has this wonderful salabat burn, but it has all the goodness of your green ingredients, so it gives you energy, but it's also good for the throat because of the salabat. So I drink a full glass of that before breakfast every morning, and then sometimes when I need another boost throughout the day, I'll drink another glass. But it's so helpful for
it sounds so healthy.
Yeah, it's really good.
So are you a health buff? Are you a health buff? I mean, you do look it, all the glow in the skin, the figure and all that. Are you a health buff, or do you, sometimes sneak I don't know, chicharron or something?
Oh, I'm terrible. I eat all the bad stuff in moderation, but I don't deny myself of anything. I eat all the chicharron and stuff, but I don't eat an entire bowl of it. I'll have a few pieces just to say na-try ko, ang sarap yo. I love all the bad stuff. I love lechon, but I think the key is moderation. I look to the French for my diet inspiration because they have a lot of rich food, right? They eat all the cheese and the cream and the fatty stuff.
Right? They still got figures. How do they do that?
They keep the figures because they don't serve giant portions of it.
Ooh.
So yeah, so I try to use that as inspiration.
Because we love fiestas, so our portions are always fiesta size. Anyway, maybe just one, the funniest thing maybe that may have happened to you while you were a rock, in the rock circuit. They say, I mean, you hear stories from these big rock stars nowadays. They say that they started eating the crew meal and what it would be and all that. I mean, do you have any stories from there, and how if you had any groupies following you around, seeing that it was an all girls rock band?
Well, first of all, I love the crew meals, and I eat anything. So I'm not picky that with that. So the only time I'll ever be picky with food is if I happen to be sick and I can't eat something. But other than that, I eat anything. So yeah, I love crew meals. I think the craziest thing that happened was because you're right, we were an all-girl rock band, and we were the only women on tour at that time with some of our biggest rock bands. We were on tour with Kamikaze, with Bamboo, with Rico Blanco, with some guys, boys and girls. And
Yeah.
there was this one, I think it was in Cagayan de Oro. My drummer is my best friend. Her name's Bea. She's the one who I said who has a lovely daughter now named Halo, who's my inaanak. But back then, she wasn't a mom yet, and we were still kind of in our crazy phase. So she told the entire hotel lobby as a joke na, "Oh, party in room 518, party, come on." Of course, that was my room, right? So
Yeah.
when I got there, the entire hotel was like squeezed into the room, and hiyang-hiya ako because I had just done my laundry. So syempre, nakasampay pa yung
Yes. Okay. Yung mga,
I aired my dirty laundry, right?
Yeah.
And they were like people picking it apart, going, and I was like, oh my gosh, and people were jumping on the bed, and there were people in there covered in mud. It was a crazy time, and I'm so sorry to the hotel. Like they were calling, the front desk was calling, nagreklamo na maingay, and all this stuff, and as crazy. It
fun,
was great.
right? Yeah.
It was fun. I'm glad I experienced.
You're not gonna do it again, but like you think back, right? I mean, it's always great when at a certain time you were able to just really, just enjoy yourself and let your hair down. So
yeah, it was a lifetime ago.
why do years go by so quickly, right? But I guess my last question, because if there's anything really that we really have learned from you besides your passion for your music is just so amazing. I feel it through my Zoom, but I mean, you're an empowered woman, obviously, and you have your mother to thank for that, like making sure that the ways of life and making sure that you can support what it is that your heart really wants to do, but you're in, you put yourself first, in the rock scene, mostly like you said, mostly male groups and all that, and then now when you're producing your music, you do it with you've got Warner's help and all that, but you're still a woman really just doing what it is that you want to do. Some people probably can't easily find the confidence maybe to do that, maybe like to stand out among male rockers, not to be scared that they might, eat me up, when I get on stage and all that. What do you put in your mind in instances like this when, it's kind of like a male, a man's world? It still happens, right? Obviously in rock music, and then, still quite a lot of producers today that are, really the manly men. So what do you do when in those instances?
Well, I think that time when I was with General Luna, that was maybe 13 years ago, people weren't used to women in bands who would just rock out in jeans and a t-shirt and a pair of boots. A lot of the women that, especially the provincial crowds, were exposed to would be the type who would perform in very skimpy clothing. And I have nothing against that. That full respect. It's just that we were doing something else. So it was a little bit hard to cross that border at first because a lot of people didn't know how to receive us. Like, what are these girls doing? Bakit sila maingay? But I think that time, because we were so young and there was that fire that comes with being that age, that you just want to prove something, I suppose. We were all in a van and we were looking at the billboards on EDSA, and all the beer billboards featured some rock band guy drinking, and then some girls in bikinis in the back dancing. And we were talking to ourselves in the van. I said, why can't we be the ones drinking? it's the same because music is genderless. It should have always been genderless, and it should always be genderless. But now that I'm older and I'm looking back, that was born out of self-confidence. We wanted to prove something. May angas pa. But now, I'm older, and I'm not as intent to prove myself as a woman. You know what I mean? It's more really, I think about the chances God gave me and the mistakes I made, and how He was able to restore me after every challenge and every mistake I made and every stupid thing I did or said. And now the confidence that I try to tap into when I'm not quite feeling myself is God confidence, because I know that I'm not perfect, and I know that I'm not the best role model, but in trying to be better constantly and trying to glorify Him with what we do and how hard we work, it's really not for us. It's for the one who created us, right? So in trying to do that, I hope the confidence is not coming from a place anymore that I'm trying to be maangas and prove something, but rather that I'm trying to just be a better person and hopefully learn more. So there's just been a little bit of an equilibrium shift, but I'm grateful I went through that in my younger years, because I did make a lot of mistakes and I did learn a lot too.
Look at you now. I mean, what a great talented woman we have here as a guest tonight on the Manila Times CSI. I really, really did want to meet you. We were messaging, I think like a couple of weeks ago, and I said that, maybe in January when things aren't as tight, we can sit and meet and chat, because this is exactly what I kind of wanted to know, where all of this passion and inspiration is coming from. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm grateful that we were able to find the time this year rather than next to be able to do that. So I know you've got you're very active also on social media. You are a whiz now at mounting your own your events on Facebook Live. So if there's you'd like to invite our viewers for the rest of the season, this Christmas, of course, if you've got new shows and live events coming up there, please, the floor is yours to invite them.
Thank you so much, Miss Tessa, for this wonderful invite. I'm just so honored, and every time I get a message from you, kinikilig ako, to be quite honest.
You're so sweet. See what I mean?
No, I'm not
sincere. It's not like in showbiz, kasi, diba? There are a lot of people that you kind of feel, yeah, of course they'll say that, but this girl, she really
mean it. I really mean it. And I also tell Tita Tessa. I also tell Tita Tessa,
I love it.
Forward ko pa, nag-message si Miss Tessa na ganito. So I'm so happy. I'm actually blushing now. But thank you for having me. Yes, there are some things I would love to invite you guys to. So tonight I will be Facebook launching our newest music video, Christmas Without You. It features Ranty Portento, who is from Pinoy Big Brother. We actually just met. For the music video, he was recommended to me by a castmate in Katips. And speaking of Katips, I've also just wrapped shooting a film. It's a musical film set in the 70s, and it's directed by Vince Tanyada, who's also the producer, writer, and one of our actors, our stars. It also stars Jerome Ponce, who's my partner in the film, and Mon Confiado, Dexter Doria, and so many other veterans, great actors. Yeah. Beautiful cast. And it's interesting because you'll get to see people like Mon and Tita Dexter sing. Because it's a music.
Okay. Right? Yeah. Not just acting, huh? Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, they sang. And if I may say so, like our musical director, Pipo Cifra, his compositions are not easy to sing. They're complicated songs. So it was really, it wowed me to see these people give their all. So that will be out in cinemas soon. They're actually starting to do the press premieres now. So yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see it. And then I've got a couple online concerts. I'll be singing for the inauguration of the Met on December 10. And I'm so excited to be in the Met.
Yeah. On the
And
10th,
live.
right?
It'll be
Yes,
live.
yes.
So, kinakabahan ako. Parang nakalimutan ko na how to sing for the audience. And then I'll also be singing this year's theme song for FAMAS. So if you guys are gonna catch FAMAS,
They've released their nominees. Their
yes,
nominees.
yesterday. Congratulations. to our
Wow,
friends.
busy December for you. And I'm sure January and the rest of 2022 will be, even busier. You deserve it. I mean, you've really worked hard for all of these things that you're experiencing now. So savor them, enjoy them, and and come back and tell us more about all of these things that are happening to you. Thank you so much.
I would love it.
Thank you. And if you can sprinkle us with a little bit of that like energy that you have and that passion for what you do, we'd love to be, be sparkled on, because, nowadays, I think people should just really be grateful, especially if they can do something that they really, really want to do and love and thrive in it. A lot of people now aren't, as lucky as you. I mean, I love my work. I get tired, but I love it. But to be able to thrive and still want to do more, you're right, that is a blessing from up there. So our congratulations and our best wishes, more power on all of that going to you, and we wish you too a very, very Merry Christmas. That's why I'm in green, because of your suit.
Oh, my favorite color, and it looks beautiful on you. I love it.
And it's so funny because it keeps on I keep moving. So see, Direct Neil keeps telling me, Miss D, please don't move. Anyway, it's great to see you and meet you finally. And we'll be here for you, supporting you. The Manila Times will we'll always do
I'm
that.
so happy. I'm so happy to see you guys here, to see your face looking beautiful in green. Thank you guys for the time today. Super excited for what's to come, and I'm super grateful for you, for all the support that you've shown, and I wish you guys a very Merry Christmas for you and your loved ones, and for you guys to find reasons to keep smiling and keep going. I really, really pray for that for all of you. So thank you
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Nicole Laurel Asensio, thank you so much. Keep touching lives. Thank you very much. We'll be right back on the Manila Times CSI. And that's it for this episode of the Manila Times CSI Season 4. Once again, thank you very much to Nicole Asensio for joining us tonight, and our dear friend Toots Tolentino for making this T-Zone interview possible. Don't forget to stream Nicole's latest single, Christmas Without You, as well as her other tracks across all leading digital platforms. Syempre, cheers to my hardworking team on the Manila Times CSI, Christina, Isa, Nika, and of course, our director and video editor, Neil, for getting our humble show out there week after week. All that we do is for you, our beloved CSIers. If you haven't yet, do subscribe to the Manila Times YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at TMT CSI. See you next Thursday, CSIers. This is Tessa Mauricio Ariola. Thanks for watching, and bye. Hi CSIers, please do subscribe to the Manila Times YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at TMT CSI. And by the way, we're also on Spotify with exclusive TMT CSI studio content that's up and ready for you to enjoy. Bye!